Welcome to CARDESIGN.ACADEMY. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to take a screenshot of the sexy Italian sports car that I built in Gravity Sketch. So this represents an early stage three-dimensional model and just a quick straight screenshot. And I'm going to turn it into a presentation level sketch rendering. This is a quick and effective way to take data, let the data do the hard work of setting up your perspective and your proportions and your wheel details and your surface lighting, surface contours, things like that, and give it a bit of artistry and make it feel like a high quality presentation level rendering. So I'm going to flip the image and I'm going to start by doing a sketch layer. So I'm just going to well, first thing I'm going to do is set up the image size. So I'm going to blow this up to full screen, and the other thing I like to do, especially with data, is give it a bit of stance. So we're going to do a bit of cheating, similar to what we would do in a sketch. So I'm going to take the bottom corners of the image and splay them out, which is going to give the car a bit of stance. You know, maybe tilt the image just a little bit to give it some more drama. Okay, and then I'm gonna dim the image or give it transparency, and I'm gonna do a quick sketch layer using a thin black pencil. Do a quick overlay sketch. Keep it loose. Keep it quick. This is a good opportunity to fix any major issues you have in your model as well, or to hide some of those problems. But don't overthink it. Let the data do the hard work of helping you with those difficult areas. In fact, it makes a lot of sense. If you have a limited amount of time to build a model, it makes a lot of sense to focus on the areas that are difficult to sketch, and then some of the surface transitions and things like that you can easily fix in the sketch. If you remember, this sexy sports car has very, very large, confident, and assertive lamps. It has this very open and optimistic and seductive expression. The thing about working from data too is when you're doing a set of presentation level renderings, is that they're all representative of the same vehicle, meaning you're not guessing as to whether your different views are matching. You know, they're all the same car. The other thing I'm going to do is put a drop shadow underneath the car, so it's going to build the light source kind of heading this way, in keeping with the rendering, the way that the screenshot was rendered. So we're going to keep our shadow close to the ground, and then it's going to spread out towards the left. Okay, so we have our sketch layer. I'm going to bring the rendering back to full opacity, and I am going to take this opportunity to match the background color. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the sketch layer at the very top, and I'm going to start to blend this car into its environment. So I'm going to take a big airbrush, and I'm going to take the color picker, pick the background color, and I'm just going to start to fade away the outer extremities of the vehicle in order it gives it atmosphere and just helps the car blend into its environment a little bit. so that you really focus on the focal point, which is the front corner of the vehicle. So the next thing I'm going to do is the cast shadow. So I'm going to take another layer. I'm going to turn down the opacity a bit. I'm going to go with a black. I'm going to use my hard ink brush. How you draw your shadow is very important because it's a really strong indicator as to the stance of the vehicle. If you don't do it right, it can look like an oil slick. I like to follow the general plan shape of the vehicle and then shift it. If you think about taking the plan shape of the vehicle and shifting it to one side, depending on where the light source is coming from. Then I'm going to take the far side of the shadow. Just blend it out a little bit. If you look at the shadow from a sunlight source, typically the shadow is crystal clear nearest the object, and then as the shadow moves further away, it gets more blurry, depending on the amount of atmosphere. So, here we're intentionally adding a bit of atmosphere. I'm adding another layer and give it some transparency. I'm just going to darken this rocker piece, which is because I really want this thing to recede against the body. Okay, so now we're going to add some definition to the hood. We're going to do that by starting to add some environment tones to help define the contours a little bit better than what the data is showing. So I'm going to add another layer, and now we're going to select the background color. All the surfaces that face further and further away from the viewer, I'm going to start to add that background tone. Windscreen is going to create a mirror image on the hood, and then all the surfaces that face back towards the viewer are also going to get turned back towards the red. The far side of this fender is also going to turn back towards the environment, the background environment. I'm going to do a little bit of saturation adjustment on the main image. We're going to add some deeper shadows. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a transparent black layer. We're going to do some cast shadows. I want this intake to look very, very deep. So the upper brow is projecting a cast shadow onto the lower surface. See how much more depth that gives it? Also use the airbrush and just deepen that intake on the body side. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the background color again and hit the surfaces that are facing down close to the ground. So some of the very, very bottom surfaces of the car, we're going to hit those with the background color. For example, in here, inside that, the deepest part of the body side, down here along the rocker, and along the bottom of the front fascia. Okay, so next I'm going to hit some red areas. So there's a few areas that are turning back towards the light that I really want to hit with a strong red. So I'm going to go ahead and select the brightest red. Let's just select that and use our airbrush, and we're gonna hit a few areas that are really meant to be red. Make sure that you're using a bright enough or a big enough airbrush when you do some of these areas. I'm just hitting this far side rear haunch as it turns back towards the light source, just hitting it with a strong red. I'm going to go ahead and add that interior color. So it's just an indication of the interior. What it is it's transparency through the glass. So what I'm going to do is take a transparent layer. I'm going to select the background color, and using my technical pen, my fountain pen, and I'm going to go a bit more transparent here, basically indicating the thickness of the pillar and back of the seat. Add a hard white reflection on the glass where the hot spot is. So I'm going to take white and I'm going to just give it a hard reflection right there. And then I'm going to start going in with some detailing. So I'm going to go above the sketch layer. Go in with my lighting details. I'm going to use my ink pen. Turn down the opacity a bit. The lighting signature really does play a significant role in the expression of the vehicle. And then finally I'm going to go in with my white pencil and just highlight some of the edges of these details. Adding this little white edge to everything just gives the edges a sense of dimension. Don't overdo it. You got to be very careful how you do it, but it just gives, even hard edges have a little bit of a radius to them, and often that catches a little streak of light. Finally, I'm just going to add a little bit of a dark background. Just to really pop the vehicle off the page. You can see the vehicle really takes on a much more artistic sketch quality to it. You might be hard pressed to tell that it came from data other than the wheels. There's a bit of artistry to it that you just don't get with a straight screenshot from data. So this is a very effective technique that I've discovered to give a sense of artistry, dimension, but also to use what's great about data. You get this precision in the details that are very difficult to be precise. And then you get to add the artistry where you see fit. And there you have it.